Derrick Young of Daygroup21 LLC.
This is Derrick, the Mother Funder Young. Yes, I said it, the Mother Funder, bringing you.
Hey, and we are back. I hope you guys are doing really well today. I am Derrick, the Mother Funder Young from Birmingham, Alabama, a real estate entrepreneur, a serial entrepreneur, and we have a good show for you guys today. And what we'll do is we'll wait for some other people to join us today because we have a good one as always. Each week is always good. Each week always has a great message behind it. And I believe that messaging, it comes from experience. And so experience is everything, right? And so from the information that we gather, our experiences and that we share and we show with each other. But today's title is Getting Started with the Right Experience. So I'm Derrick Young, your host of Building Wealth Through Real Estate. And it's a great topic, a great show, because a lot of people don't know how to even get started in real estate. They don't know what to do, where to get started, who they need to talk to. So there are a lot of things that I bring to the table in regards to this show and the experiences that I've had. So I'm excited to be here with you guys this Saturday. So also next Saturday, we'll have a good one for you as well, where we will be talking about getting started again and overcoming objections and just encouraging you guys that if you're in business, just keep on going, keep on showing up for yourself on a daily basis. So if you could, over in the chat, you'll see me looking to the left and looking to the right. I'm trying to maintain to see what questions that you might have. But what I want you guys to do is to let me know where you're coming in from. You have any questions? We'll get those questions later answered after we finish talking about the main topic, which is getting started with the right experience. Okay. And so I'll give you guys a couple of more minutes before we get started in the messaging. And so if you could do me a favor, what I would like for you guys to do while we wait, I'm going to share my social media platforms where I want you guys to follow me, see what I'm doing, see what I'm up to, see what projects that we're working on. And we have a lot of exciting projects that we have coming up. And the most important thing is this particular show, Building Wealth Through Real Estate. So here we go. All right. So those were my social media channels, and what we'll do is that will give you more access to me in regards to YouTube, LinkedIn, and all of the other social media platforms that I'm on. Facebook, even Clubhouse. If you're not familiar with Clubhouse, Clubhouse is a good app to join as well. So, but with that, let's get this show started. So I want to talk about getting started with the right experience. Getting started with the right experience. I always take it back to generally when I got started in real estate or when I got started in business. What happened, I just got started. And so for me getting started, I was excited. I didn't have a plan put in place. I just did it. And so for me just doing it, I felt my way around. You know, they say entrepreneurs, what they do is they'll jump out of the airplane and then they'll figure out where how the parachute works and all of this other stuff like that. But now I've been trained in a way where you do research. You have to get analytical. You have to. There's a certain thing that you need to do in order to get to the next step. So it's one step forward and then two steps backwards, because you'll have a gain and then you'll have a loss and then you have a gain. So in essence, what that looks like is consistency, making sure that you are consistent. So if you're learning, you're learning. But there's only a loss if you don't go and get back up again after you've fallen down, right? And so what that looks like is, in essence, is failure. Failure. You will have to fail in order to get to the point where you're trying to get to, right? And so I'll be responding to some messages too. So while we're here, so another thing that I want to talk about is your experience. So your experience is everything. It's the level of activities that you've gone through and the things that you've done. So it's your historical data. So what did you do yesterday? That's your experience. So what did you do last year? That's your experience. So all of these things are technical phases in our lives in regards to the things and what we're trying to do, right? So in essence, I'll give you a shared experience of when I got started in real estate. And I'll give you the good, the bad, and the ugly. So we recently, well, not recently, one of our properties in Birmingham, it's a 4-unit, and we did some off-market campaigning. So this was the right experience. You know, I learned what to do and what not to do. And so the experience was great because I was consistent with what I was doing. And I'm sharing the story with you guys so you'll then be able to understand, you know, where I'm coming from. And so where I'm coming from is that it's coming from a good place in regards to the level of activity, right? My historical data, where did I come from? Where am I trying to go, right? And so where I'm trying to go, I'm trying to, well, not trying, I am being successful with the level of activities that I'm doing and the level of activities that I'm growing from, because at the end of the day, that is what it's about. And so what we're looking at is we're looking at data. And so data can be explained of what did you do yesterday, looking at our timing, saying what things are we doing to add value to ourselves as far as like educational processes put in place, right? What are we doing? How are we doing it? When are we doing it? And why are we doing it, right? So all of these things, they have an understanding, but you have to do the research on your own, because I'm one person. I can't be more excited for you than you are for yourself. So getting back to the story. So the story goes as is, I did some marketing. I had to do some research. I had to go to a class. I had to learn about multifamily. And what I found out is that there is a strategic way and a strategic manner of doing any and everything that you do, right? So what happened, we found an off-market property. And so what an off-market property is a deal where you won't have to have a realtor or a broker the deal for you. You just go and direct to seller. And the experience was, it was a good experience starting off. But then after that experience, what happened, we lost contact with the seller. And so as we lost contact with the seller, she got sick. And so guys, when I say I got all into my feelings, like I was so excited that we made contact. We sent out hundreds of letters trying to buy property. And we finally got one property. And this lady, she was very responsive to us. And what ended up happening is she lost contact with us for about 2 months or so. What happened, we kept on calling and kept on calling, and she wouldn't pick up. And so I had to tell my partners, well, I don't know what happened, but she just stopped responding. And so what ended up happening is she she then picked up the phone on the after the 20th time that I called, because I said I'm not gonna call anymore because she's probably just wasting my time and all this other stuff like that. So now remember, experience with the right experience, right? Because I brought those thoughts in, right? So since I brought those thoughts in, that's something that I created. So we have to be careful with the level of activities that we're bringing in, right? And the thoughts that we create. Because if we're creating the wrong thing, the wrong type of level, the wrong type of energy, that energy can either go up, you can take it up, or either you can take it down. So I choose to be positive after this experience. So what happened, I called for the 20th time and said that was gonna be my last time. She picked up the phone and I noticed that her voice, it sounded a little weak. And she was like, "Hey, Derek, I've been in the hospital this whole time." And I was like, oh, and I felt so bad. But what happens is that we get in our feelings, right? Even with personal relationships, family relationships, business relationships, we assume. And so I assumed that she didn't want to talk to me anymore, but that wasn't the case. The case was she was sick. But I had all this drama and worry and all this other stuff like that because I created it. Instead of being positive, I was negative, right? And so what happened, that taught me a lesson that don't assume, never assume, just do. Be in the moment. And there's a lot of times where we misread situations, right? And we miss the whole message. Sometimes we learn patience as we go and as we grow. And so the processes that we put in place to things is it can be sometimes messy, right? But if we're consistent and persistent with ourselves, with the goals that we're trying to do, um, that's where the success lies. Success lies on the other side of fear, right? And what happened, I was consistent. Although I didn't feel like it, I was consistent. And so what we did was we were able to get the deal. We ironed out all of the details, and it was so much that went into getting this deal. And so I'm sharing this with you that success is not easy. Success will be hard, but if everyone would do it because they thought it was easy, there we'll have a lot of a different world. So in order to get to success, you have to put the work, you have to put the time into doing it, right? And so from that, in regards to what any and everything that we're doing, right, we have to persist. It's a numbers game. Success is a numbers game. So just like you're on a new job, when you first got started driving, when you started school, it was a process. You had to continue to do it. You had some rough nights, long nights, kind of understand, even beginning how to learn your ABCs, right? How to read. It was a step by step process. So getting in started in business, it's the same thing. It's a step by step process. Don't give up on yourself. So, and I got to give you guys an update on the 90-day challenge. So we had a 90-day challenge, right? So never do anything alone, because if you're doing things alone, um, it could really mess with your attitude, mess with the law of attraction, what you're trying to attract. You need to have somebody on the other end that can push you to be better, right? And so by you doing that, that that takes you to a different level. And what I've experienced, guys, when I tell you, I did not know that I had the sheer will to go deep down to bring out the best in me. And I share with you. So what my experience was, I wanted to quit. But my partner said, hey, no, you're not going to quit. So I'll explain what the 90-day challenge is. The 90-day challenge was we had to get 200 miles within 90 days. So I know some people saying 200 miles, are you crazy? Work backwards. We have 200 miles, right? So once we work backwards, that 200 miles is anywhere from 2.2 to 2.3 miles a day within the 90 days that will give us the 200 miles, right? So I challenged my partner. I said, hey, if you beat me, you and your friend get to stay at the corporate rental. I have to pay for it. So I just knew I was not going to lose. But sad to say, I lost. I didn't get beat by much, so it was 4 miles. But however, I called her and I congratulated my accountability partner because what she did for me, she pushed me to a level where I did not know that I had it in us because we don't use half of the brain functions or half of the brain's power. So there were days when I was walking, and I did a couple of lives where I did an actual live, letting you guys know what I thought, what I felt, and why I was not going to give up because I'd already been through that phase of the challenge. Because to be honest, guys, I was like, why in the world did I agree to this challenge? But what it did, it gave me a healthier outlook. It gave me a healthier balance. It gave me activity, right? It gave me a healthy habit. So that's an experience, starting with the right experience. So you're going to have some ups, and you're going to have some downs, and you're going to have some highs, and you're going to have some lows. But the biggest thing is that you show up for yourself every day on a daily basis. And by you doing that, what that does is that creates a habit. We have to be careful with the thoughts that we keep, the thoughts that we think, right? And so shout out to D. Thank you for joining us. So also we're here every Saturday at 5 p.m. Central Standard Time, 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And so we'll do a little bit better about promoting it on the social media platforms and start promoting it. So definitely because we got some great things coming, some great activities that are coming. So let's check the chat and see if we have any comments. Okay. All right. Yeah, I see you, D. Thank you for joining us. Thank you for all of the other listeners who have joined us as well. So let us know where you guys are listening from. So getting back to the story, so I told you about the 90-day challenge. So the 90-day challenge, as I saw that she was about to get closer to the 200 miles, I got closer to her. And so we were just pushing each other back and forth, back and forth. So what did they do? That gave us a competitive spirit to work towards each other because I'm happy and excited that she won. Because what does that do for me? I won anyway because it gave me a different level of just understanding that I can pretty much do anything that I put my mind to. But I have to be able to create the positive energy. It's all about the experience. You want to get started with the right experience. So a lot of times when we get started as entrepreneurs, we're scared and we're fearful because we had this one thought, and it's normally the first thought, and we're afraid to get started. And that thought is, what if I fail? What if I fail? So just peel the onion back and think, what if I succeed? Right? Why is there always a failure that comes first before succeeding? We got to think about that. We got to look at that and see, well, what is what? Right? So in essence, what we're doing here is we're forming habits. And so from these habits that we're forming, what are we doing? The goal is to be uh, perfect. The goal is to start a strategy. The goal is to get started, right? But we need to have the right experience. And so the right experience means is that you get your knowledge, you get your historical data. Then once you get your knowledge, don't just become a knowledge junkie because that's what I was. I was a knowledge junkie. I was always figuring out ways to learn and go to this event and go to that event. But when do you learn? Like when do you put that into action where you're actually doing something, some actionable items, right? And so what that looks like is you learn, there's a phase in learning. And so from that phase in learning, don't just sit on it. So as soon as you get what you get, then you put it into action. So once you put it into action, then you take that and you build on it. So from your building, it's next steps. It's next steps. So it's like you're taking block for block. Even going back to the basics, how did you learn your ABCs? You learned them one at a time. So we can't jump to A to Z. It's a process. It's a step by step by step process in regards to any and everything that we're trying to do. So with that, if you guys have any questions, put it into the chat. I'll be looking back and forth, and I want to get back to the story of finding the offline market deal. So we closed on the deal, and here recently, what happened? I called the old seller because it was a good relationship that we had. Although we purchased the property from her, we had a great relationship with her in regards to staying in contact with her. And that's what you want to do. You want to make sure that anything that you do, make sure you're not transactional, but you have relationships with people because relationships can really help you be successful. I say that again, relationships can really help you be successful, not transactions, but relationships. So from those relationships, that's any and everything that you do. You want to be on purpose to create that relationship, and so from that relationship, that person can help you get to the next stage or the next phase in your life. So what that looked like is we ended up having to get an air conditioning replaced, and so from that air conditioning being replaced, we had to get the HVAC guy who had the contract on that particular place, right? And so I called her, which was the old seller, and so from her, I then got his number, got in contact with him, and so when I got in contact with him, he came out, replaced the unit. So that started another relationship and another conversation with somebody, right? And so all of this is relational. It wasn't transactional. All this was relational. And so when you say relational, it's repeatable processes that we put into place to maintain a goal. So any and everything that we do, it's a process, right? So I I coined this phrase where we make things so difficult in life as entrepreneurs. So if you're getting started in real estate, if you're getting started in business, you have to get started right. But then once you get started, you have to join the program. You have to buy into the program. So once you buy into the program, you have to finish the program because a lot of us don't finish the programs that we have. We just, once it gets too hard, we just give up and quit, right? And so from that, what that looks like is being consistent, making sure that you're showing up to shows like this, making sure that you're showing up for yourself. Number one, if you're not showing up for yourself, who's going to show up for you? Because if you keep on making excuses, oh, well, I'll do it tomorrow. Oh, I'll do it next week. Well, why not do it today? Go ahead and do it today because sometimes perfection can be procrastination. Sometimes procrastination can be procrastination. Well, hey, I'll put it off until 30 minutes when we can do it right now. So what I'm asking you guys to do and what I'll do is I want to share and show my social media links again with you guys so you guys can follow me. Give me a follow to see when I am I go live or what I'm doing, right? So give me a second to pull this up. All right, guys, we are back. So those are my social media links. And so what I also wanted to do is I wanted to share a clip of the founder and CEO, Dr. Jacqueline King. We did a couple of weeks back. It was such an honor to be able to interview her on a platform that she started with 200 people. And so now the platform is over 1 million followers across all of her social media platforms. And so we will play it in three.
You know, you're just sitting there, a smart person, and the higher ups are not seeing you. You have to stand out. You know the old saying, we have to be 3, 4, 5 times better than our counterparts. We know this. This is no secret. So get on those projects. Volunteer to do projects. Help people out. You have to go above and beyond. Otherwise, you're going to be in that same spot when you retire, where you started.
And that was Dr. King and I's interview. It was a very, very exciting moment to be able to show and share with you guys, because what took place is it was non-orchestrated, it was all natural, and it was just a great moment. So in conclusion, guys, I want to tell you, number one, thank you for showing up. So the next phase is to make sure that whatever you experience, don't always think about it as a negative, right? There's positive in any and everything that we do, even in the failures. There's positive. So what will you gather, or what will you get out of life when when you're experiencing it? So whether you get a bad grade, take that as a learning experience wherever you go, right? So don't always jump to the negative. Figure out what you're doing, why you're doing, when you're doing it. Take a step back. And once you take that step back, that's all you need to do to really be successful. So what in essence what I want to push you guys to do, whatever experiences that you have, whether it be good or bad, live through it. So there'll be some fear, there'll be some stress, but what I want you guys to do is live through it and see what will it do for you. So I'm glad that you guys joined us today for Building Wealth through Real Estate. And I will see you guys next week. Make sure you guys give me a follow on social media. We have a good one for you next week. And as always, you guys enjoy your weekend.